Welcome. Welcome to the Jesus Show. The Jesus Show. All right. Been a second since I've done this on YouTube. I've been going live on Instagram. So if you want to catch up on a few of the lives I've done over there, go over to my Instagram. That's Jesus of Daily Life. Gonna be doing more YouTubes though. I appreciate my YouTube people. That's somewhat true. I have to say, that I get better comments on YouTube. People come onto YouTube more to engage. Instagram is really a flaming pile of garbage. It is the worst social media platform. Um, I say that knowing that there are horrible social media platforms. I do not have TikTok because I'm just not going to let that demon onto my phone. Sometimes you got to draw the line at what demons you let onto your phone. Mine, no TikTok demon on my devices. That will not happen. So yeah, so washing, what is washing? What is washing? What is washing? Now, Emily Schuler, or excuse me, Duchess Mary Martha. She has some great live videos on what washing is, what buying your soul back is. She has various videos. So I suggest that you go on her channel, which is actually on Instagram. So you're going to have to go to that garbage heap platform I just wrecked. And go on her page. That's Daylife Mary. And watch some of her lives about washing, but washing is the transference of belief from the pain matrix to the pleasure matrix. And it is a way of sacrificing your ego, harvesting your own ego. And a lot of your ego is stored in your finances. And well, in your finances, your ego is stored in your currency. Now, whether it be your financial currency or your social currency, those are two places to wash from. Now, you, the viewer, I can say with confidence that most of y'all are not ready to social wash. Social wash is actually far harder than financial washing. So why don't you just go and make a financial wash, try it out, take the leap of faith, accept that there's a reason that you're on this YouTube listening to this specific Christ concept. And the Christ concept is supposed to fill you with a kind of faith. Now, it isn't necessarily faith in me. It is faith in my mission, and it is faith in General Koa. General Koa knows what she's talking about, and when she tells you something to do, that it is the right thing to do. So washing is the great way to start doing what General Koa says, and that's a funny thing because you're like, but this guy's honestly coming here and telling us just follow orders, like listen, just do the thing. Yes, I am. Okay. So yeah, it's a cult. It's culty. Get into it. I'm not like objectivism, which is a cult that doesn't claim to be a cult. I'm not like a million of these cults. QAnon, Black Lives Matter, the Democrats, your family, the apartment building you live in. All cults won't admit it, and thus are far less powerful than one that will. Okay, so last night I was feeling pretty jazzed up, and it translated into like this fear almost, because I couldn't sleep. I had trouble sleeping last night because I had this like fear that comes from doing a relatively good job and having a relatively good day, where I'm like, I'm not gonna swear. It comes from doing a relatively good job and having a relatively good day, and knowing that you will have to maintain that. Otherwise, it is going to be a bigger fall from a higher point. Um, and yeah, I do not. Whoa, what? My watch stopped. Now it stopped because the crown was pulled out, but it stopped at exactly midnight. I can't with all the watch time symbolism, bro. And I'm literally um this live is about time. So that's that's a lot. That's a lot. I'll have to reset that bad boy after this live, but god damn. Um and the date? What? Okay, never mind. Just a little bit of watch symbolism coming in there, hijacking the live. But I thought that was important because we are talking about time on this live. So yeah, I felt stressed, and it's probably something that y'all feel a lot. You know, in high school, I was a procrastinator, so I never did my homework, and I would wait till the very last minute to I would wait till 6 a.m. the morning before my essay was due, and I would get on my computer. I would drink like two Diet Pepsis, and I would write a whole paper. So I have procrastination issues. I have attention issues. It's very hard for me to just sit down and do a task. Um, so yeah, but that was a thing where I would be like dreading the thing all day, and like I wouldn't sleep that night because I'd just be like in my own head thinking like, oh, I'm gonna have to do this thing. Similar feeling, but it's a feeling that comes from relative success and being like, there's no way I can possibly maintain this. This is a fluke. Now, if you start to line up enough flukes and you're like fluking 5 out of 7 days, you start to be like, okay, is this a fluke or is it just, my process is getting better? Regardless, had very hard time sleeping. And manically, my mind was like working like on, different ways that I'm going to do the thing. Now, what I should have been doing was writing down all of these plans instead of just being a freak with my mind going a million miles per hour, but I didn't. Um, so, what does this have to do with the topic of the live that you've come on to? And we're already 8 minutes in, and we're talking about from past to future. I am talking about my transition from past to future and how a time transition such as that may apply to your life. Now, you may want to be going future to past. You may want to be going past to future. So I'm not actually going to put a value judgment on where you are. I will just tell you where I was at. And then you can flip it. You can reverse it. You can wash. You can figure out which one you're trying to get to. Anything like that. I mean, there is a wealth of information that can drastically help your life. You just have to be vulnerable enough to pay for it. And that's what washing does. And just a little bit of an ad before we get into it. I explained what washing does. I did not say all of the links down below are links in order to make a wash. I mean, not all of them. Some of them are social media links. But all of the wash links there, PayPal, Cashapp, Apple Pay, Zelle should be down there. And then my email, 100f@automat.me. Those are all methods for you to wash with. PayPal.me/wash it all. Cash.me/$wash it all. Laundruss@automat.me for Zelle and Apple Pay. And 100f@automat.me if you'd like to make an asset wash of any kind or curious about other kinds of washing or have some general questions. That's the place to point those kind of washes. Now, asking a question vulnerably can actually be a wash. But, the devil's lettuce does not hurt either. So, I am essentially in the process of deprogramming from an obsession with the past to a focus and a obsession with the past to a focus and a clear. I wonder what a word would be for honing in. I'm honing in on the future. And it's not fun. It is not a fun process. In a lot of ways, I don't have the time because the past affords you a lot of time to be sad. And now, through taking that away, I don't really have the time to be sad. It's difficult to be sad about the future. It's a lot easier to be every other emotion about the future. Mainly for me right now, though, it is anger and fear. And so fear is like, am I going to be able to pull this off? Anger is like, I don't want it to be like this. Like, I don't want my future to be like in these ways. Or I'm angry that I'm going to have to go through these steps to get the thing that I need in my future. I'm angry about what my next week is going to look like. All of the above. So deprogramming from the past obsession in some ways is deprogramming from an obsession around sadness. Okay. And getting farther into it, and I'll just use anger, though fear is kind of trickling in. Okay. It's kind of trickling in. And the future in some ways, well, I explained how it manifests in some ways as keyed up anxiety. Like, okay, what am I going to do? It's uncertainty. Now, being certain in the future and being certain that you will be able to handle the future and that you will plan for the future is really the missing piece here. But in general, I can say where I am right now is the future makes me feel trapped because there's contracts around my future, there's potential relationship changes around my future, there is the expectations, there are expectations in my future, and nothing makes me feel more trapped than high expectations. That's why I try to get everyone's expectations to be as low as possible for me so I can in some ways, in the past, I would just use that as a way as an excuse to do the bare minimum, which to me still felt like doing a lot, which is pathetic. But it feels, it's like feeling trapped, but in another way, it's like lighter and more relaxing. And I say relaxing with it. It's not like relax like a love sack. It's like relax like, okay, I know where I'm headed. I feel more, even though I have more energy on this live video than I did on the last live video I did. So you could say it's less relaxed. I'm relaxed in my energy. I'm relaxed in having definiteness of purpose, which is a phrase that I learned recently, but just certainty of who and where you are. So it's lighter. It doesn't have the heaviness of like focusing on the past and being like, oh, I shouldn't have fucked up that relationship. Oh, I sent that email. I used to fucking freak out just thinking about emails that I sent that were poorly worded. If I didn't get a response back in 24 hours, I was like, what did I do? Oh, that was more in my business, like Pain Matrix business days. Less so now. But still, going over in your head all of these things like, where did I go? Nostalgia, the poison alcoholic beverage that is nostalgia. Yeah, in some ways I feel a lot lighter not relying on those things. Now, do I still dip back into the past? Absolutely. Now, I still, and they're usually things that regrets. Like, it's not so much dipping back into, it's regrets based around what I feel are, glorious moments or whatever. Now, Mary went live the other day and said that she's always wants to be able to look back at herself 3 months ago and cringe. And say, wow, I've grown so much. Now, there is a part of me that is like that, but also the narcissist, as a narcissist, I look back at other points and I'm like, fuck, I was killing it back then. And I don't know if that's a sign of like I haven't grown or like I'm not as hard on myself in the past. Now I can be hard on my future. It's very easy for me to be hard on who I am in the present. I can be so hard. Actually, looking back is easier. Like when I'm like 3 months have gone by, I've had distance from the thing. I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe I was really hard on myself during that time, but then looking back, it doesn't actually feel that justified. So I have more of that relationship to the past, but it feels good to be looking to the future. Planning still very difficult for me to like really get that like 100 because I got attention issues. I have a whatever ADD or whatever the fuck. It's hard for me to do one thing and sit down and get it done. I'm a very impulsive person, and impulse is not uh, treated me very well over the years. I don't feel as lethargic. So yeah, I don't feel as lethargic, and feelings last shorter. So I don't have to spend a week in a depression. I don't have to spend even 3 days in the depression. And it's transitioning more to like success, success, failure, success, 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 failure, instead of like failure, 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 success, failure, 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 success. Now I can't stop the fact that it's still success, success, failure, success yet, but it is less dramatic. Feelings feel less eternal. They last shorter, less stretches. And when you start to do the future, what I've noticed as a bad boy, probably way different for native archetypes who are like stuck in the future that actually have to get to the past, is what I've noticed is that the future means that it's way easier in the beginning to think about what you don't want than what you do want. At least for me, at least for a bad boy, at least for a bear, that's what's going on. Now, future means you have to know. Okay, so it's easier to think about what you don't want than what you do want, and you can check out Chief Keef's song "Don't Like" as an example. But yeah, so it's like, oh, I don't want my life to be like this. I don't want to have to do this. I don't want to have to work this many hours a day. I don't want to have to, do live here or do this or have to fucking walk here. I don't. But then you can always, God doesn't really hear no. So you got to be careful with the future when you're starting to say all the things you don't want, because God may just not hear the no in there, because God doesn't hear no. No doesn't mean no to God. So careful. So that's a trapping of the future for all of you bad boys out there trying to get into the future. That's a trapping. But future, yes. Future means you have to know what you want. You have to know what you're about. You can kind of slip and slide by in the past not knowing what you want or who you are, and you're trying to piece it all together through all the stories of your life and all the victimhood and all the fucking shit. Being focused on the future means you can't be a victim. Now, being focused on the past is you can absolutely be a victim. In the future, there is no victimhood, because what? It doesn't fit. It's not what was done to you. You're not focused on any of those things. Those obsessions are, for the most part, gone. Okay. Focus on purpose. Okay. Focus on purpose. There is a divine focus on purpose I've found through being focused on the future rather than the past. Knowing what you're doing, knowing where you're going, why you're going there, where, who, what, where, when, why, how, all the things about what's going on for you. And that's difficult sometimes as someone who focuses on the past, because as someone who focuses on the past, your purpose is barely applicable, because why do you need a purpose to like look back? Now, I'm not saying, I haven't actually figured out healed past shit. It's not my job to figure out healed past shit. So don't take my word for it as like, once I got to enlightenment, spiritual enlightenment. That's how your Yawan book would say it. So yeah, that this is coming from an unhealed past perspective, which I was in for 29 years, and now it is the first year of me not doing that and moving into what is the spiritual realm of my existence, which is finally being able to hear what's coming. All right, hear what's coming. I got these guys on, so I can't really see, but I can hear what's coming. All right. So that's past the future. I will be live again this week. I have some interviews coming up that I'd love you to tune into, and probably be advertising those on social media. And I imagine there will be plenty of notice to jump on those. So focus on purpose. Let's end this with a wash, okay, guys? Goal today is $1,800, okay? 1,800. Let's just smash that. Let's get it done, because I'm trying to have not a relaxing, but a certain week of knowing where I'm at. $1,800. If you're watching this, any of you, if you're watching this, if you've washed recently and you're watching this, consider doubling what you did last time and just putting it through, seeing how it feels. It's gonna feel good. Focus on purpose. Focus on purpose. Focus on purpose. And that is the end of the show. Wash it all. Links are below. Like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers. Yeah, that's basically it. So I bid you goodbye, and I will see you soon in the future.